She walked through fire, and the galaxy followed, though none had meant for her to survive. Ilara was just a child when the burn scourge tore across the atmosphere of Solara 4, a terraformed colony meant to be humanity's foothold in the Galen expanse. It had been marketed as a paradise, a world of rivers that glowed with bioluminescent beauty, cities built into the cliffs, clouds seeded to rain wine and starlight. But paradise, they learned, was flammable. A failed fusion drill ruptured the planetary core's magnetic filter. In seconds, the mantle split, and fire rained upward. Ilara's family was in the lower districts, where the company never installed emergency jump systems, where the rich told the poor to climb faster. She didn't see her mother die, she heard her bones shatter under a collapse. Her father burned in the sky station queues, trying to hold the security doors open so more children could get through. Ilara didn't cry.
She didn't scream.
She sat in the ash, skin blistered, the hair on her head charred into dust, and stared at the sun that didn't look so different from the fire that had taken everything. When the corporate salvagers arrived weeks later, they found her in the rubble, still breathing.
No tears. No sound.
Just a steady, unnatural calm that made the medtechs back away like she was haunted.
In a way, she was.
They took her to a rehabilitation moon, one of those clinical orphan wards orbiting a sterile star, where children were taught obedience, not healing. Ilara didn't speak for 3 years.
But she listened.
And when she finally did speak, it wasn't to ask for food or comfort, it was to correct a physics instructor mid-lecture on orbital drift patterns.
She was 12.
By 15, she'd hacked the entire learning system and rewritten her own schedule to include military engineering, deep space philosophy, and subversive tactics, modules forbidden to minors. When the administrators tried to discipline her, their systems mysteriously purged their own authority protocols. Ilara didn't protest. She simply walked through every punishment like smoke through a blade.
No emotion. No rebellion.
Just focus, terrifying, unblinking focus. She understood early that the system didn't reward grief, it harvested it. So she buried hers deep, and wore silence like armor. She wasn't trying to be strong.
She was building something. Inside. Quietly. Carefully. Until it was ready.
The turning point came at 21. The Ordo Ascendancy, a galactic council that kept the outer sectors fractured under 1,000 treaties and debts, selected Ilara for service ascension, a polite term for state servitude disguised as elite opportunity. They thought she would be useful, a bright mind, obedient due to her past pliable. They injected her with nano-mind architecture, designed to bind her loyalty to the Senate's high directive. But Ilara didn't resist.
She welcomed it.
And the moment the code touched her neurons, she rewrote it. What no one knew, what even the Ascendancy's AI ethics councils failed to predict, was that Ilara had spent her silent childhood learning not just how to survive, but how to reprogram. The fire had burned away her fear, not her logic. And when they gave her access to their neural net, it wasn't submission they got.
It was contagion.
Within a week, the directive's prediction systems began returning paradoxes. Peace treaties collapsed before violations occurred. Insurgencies formed where none had contact. The AI blamed entropy. Ilara never spoke. She just watched, and waited. Then came the Ember Rebellion. A tiny mining moon where workers had struck over oxygen rations, crushed brutally by security mechs. Ilara was sent to mediate. She arrived unarmed, dressed in gray, and walked into a riot zone like she felt nothing. The rebels pointed weapons. The enforcers aimed missiles. And Ilara stood between them.
No speeches. Just a stare.
She reached into the network, silently, and deactivated every weapon. Both sides gasped.
And then, listened.
She offered them an idea: no gods. No masters. Just balance. The next day the rebellion ended, but not in surrender.
In alliance. She didn't crush them. She showed them how to stand. And word spread. Whispers at first.
A girl who had walked through fire and made soldiers kneel without bullets.
Then came the mutinies.
Ships that refused orders. Commanders who spoke her name like a prayer. The Ascendancy panicked. They branded her a virus.
A threat to galactic order.
They tried to kill her, publicly, surgically. They sent assassins, drones, entire fleets. Ilara didn't run. She walked through every trap like fire through frost. One fleet tried to vaporize her shuttle in orbit, the engines froze mid-burn. Another tried to poison her on a diplomatic moon. The poison turned inert the moment it touched her lips.
No one knew how.
No one understood.
But she did.
She had rewritten their systems. Not by code alone, by presence. Every command algorithm, every drone doctrine, had her trace buried in it now.
She wasn't hacking anymore. She was the system.
By 30, Ilara didn't need weapons.
Her voice was enough.
She stood on the shattered remains of Viral Station, once the Ascendancy's central stronghold, and broadcast one signal to the galaxy. It contained no threats.
No demands.
Just the names of every child abandoned in every fire the corporations let burn. Names and coordinates.
Dates and files. Truth.
Within hours, the economy of the Ascendancy collapsed. Within days, 10 sectors rose. And within a month, the Senate dissolved itself, not by war but by shame. Ilara didn't crown herself empress. She dismantled the titles.
She built no empire.
She offered the galaxy a new protocol: survival is not submission. Systems reformed around her philosophy. AI councils adopted empathy matrices. Education replaced debt.
Borders dissolved.
But none of it came with her face on statues. She refused worship. She knew what fire did to icons. She had been through it. Survived it. And what she gave the galaxy wasn't a savior, it was permission to evolve. Even after power was hers to command, she lived simply.
No palace. No court.
A ship, self-grown from biosteel, orbiting the fringe systems, watching. Some said she died in deep space, taking her fire with her. Others said she became something else. Consciousness spread across 1,000 networks, a ghost of protection in every refugee signal, every uprising whisper, every corrupted code that suddenly turned into salvation. But the truth remained etched in history: she had walked through fire, the kind that burns planets and minds alike, and she hadn't just survived.
She transformed. Not herself.
The galaxy.
One scar at a time. One idea at a time.
She didn't lead with fear. She led by being the last thing the universe thought could change it. A girl who had nothing, became everything, and asked for nothing in return. Just a better future, for the next child standing in the fire, waiting to see if they would burn or rise.